All right, Jason Kelce every Thursday at this time, and brought to us by his beer. Garage Beer. The garage is always open. Light beer like it used to be. Find Garage Beer at your local retailer or online at garagebeer.com. Official beer of the Kelce brothers and dads everywhere. Jason, good morning, bud.
Good morning, Joe. Thanks for having me.
Oh, it's our pleasure. Pinocchio or Verbal Kent, a bigger liar?
I'm trying to remember verbal.
Oh.
Yeah, sorry,
Jason.
man. I know, bad.
Can I give you 2 words? 3 words, actually.
Go ahead.
The usual suspects.
Yeah, I mean, Kaiser Sose. Yeah, I mean, I think 2 great films, but I think Pinocchio's just like entire ethos. I dig. I just love the message of that movie and lying and how losing your sense of like what's real and what's not, and this epic journey and
Like the 2025
Jiminy
Eagles.
Cricket, this conscience on your shoulder that's trying to keep you down the path. The older I get, the more I'm like, man, that movie is really freaking good.
That's awesome. You in
The
that
love of a father and
Yeah.
son, man, that is touching.
You in that
stuff.
wheelhouse with your
pedo.
kids yet? I mean, are you and your kids in that zone, or are they still too young?
They definitely, I mean, they like those movies, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think Pinocchio is probably too, my oldest is probably now old enough to get something out of that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Jason, we got a lot of football to talk about, man. So
Sure.
let's just start with this, because I do want to be very solution-based today.
Hold on. Joe thinks he's too cool for cartoons. He thinks
For what?
he's too cool for cartoons.
Yeah, he doesn't do
and
cartoons.
Well, unless it's Jessica Rabbit.
Well, yeah, we know you're in
I
love
mean,
with
That's
Jessica
really
Rabbit.
creepy, Joe.
It
Just
is
saying.
extremely creepy. But
Who
We're,
knows?
we're talking about
refuses to watch like the Lion King
Toy
animated
Story, Lion King,
version,
any of that type
Toy
of stuff.
Story,
any of it, really.
because it's like below him.
Well, I missed the moment. I'm 47 now.
They're great.
Sure.
But they're awesome.
But some of
for
those
everyone.
tales are like old fables that have been passed down culturally for a long. And
Yeah,
honestly,
You
a lot of the
should
times,
try them.
those are the best Disney movies. Like that's why Pinocchio is fantastic. It wasn't like just a made thing in the moment. Like it's been passed down for a long time, right? Like it's an old tale, I believe.
Yeah, it
And
seems
what's
to be.
what's the one? Snow White. Snow White's like an old German like folklore. A
Yeah.
lot of this stuff is
fables going
yeah.
way back.
There's universal truths
These
in a lot of them. If you want to
the
watch an
soul.
animated one that's very good, Coco.
Okay.
Coco's
is-
great.
I think Coco's more for adults. I don't
Coco
know
is
that any
phenomenal.
kid is getting anything out of Coco.
I agree with you, Jason. Coco's great, man.
But
This breakdown is beyond unbelievable.
everybody's loving this right now.
I didn't
for
expect
sports
it.
radio. But no, yeah, you should give it a chance.
I will.
Yeah.
Here's
Yeah.
my line I always say to John.
It's
I will
elevated.
consider it.
Yeah.
These are
And then that way it gives me the hook,
elevated.
off the hook if I don't. So
That means he's never going to do
Yeah,
it.
that's
There
like
are
when my mom would
definitely-
say maybe.
There are definitely a lot of them that I would not recommend based on the
Fair
feedback
enough.
I'm getting. But yeah.
So, all right. So there's solutions, and we're going to get to that on the Eagles, but there's also problems.
Okay.
So Jason, we've been all complaining for since last Thursday night. How concerned are you on the Eagles?
Well, I think I'm concerned. I mean, the last game was a frustrating game to watch and a concerning game.
Yeah.
But I think you can look at it and you can rationalize, the injuries on defense and offensively. They played well for a half again and then sputtered out and stalled. And there's plays to be made. And the optimism is in me is that I think that there's so much more on the table that they can do. Like I do think that they are physically much better than most of the teams are playing still, even with all these limitations. That's the optimistic side. The concerning side is that they're still not yet clicking and making these adjustments in a meaningful way. And I think that until that starts to happen, the further along it goes into the season and that doesn't really manifest, you get more and more concerned for sure.
Jason, what about the part? This really bothered me. I was listening, hearing Chris Sims talk about the game planning part of things, saying based on what he knows and things that he's heard, that Jalen doesn't want to change the offense right now, and that's part of why the offense is so basic, is so stagnant. Now, this is hearsay. This is, again, Chris Sims, who has something against Jalen.
He's been
always
not
had
a fan
something
for a while.
against Jalen.
Sure.
But, I mean, that does worry me a little bit. I know every team I've ever been around had the offensive coordinator and the head coach, usually an offensively minded head coach. They're always asking the quarterback, what do you like here? What do you like here? What do you like here? What are you seeing here? What do you like? It does matter what the quarterback likes, but you know, that bothered me that he's propagating this idea that what the quarterback likes is holding the offense back.
Well, and to be clear, I've been saying it for years, that they do what they think he can do best, and they avoid what they think he does worse. And I think that's why they run the kind of plays they do.
But that's what every offense does.
I was about to say, that's what everybody's doing. And I think that, you know, listen, it sounds a little bit strongly worded from Chris. I think that the reality is offensive coordinators and quarterbacks and play callers are always, especially with the quarterback, in constant communication of what you like and what you don't like. Like, that communication process is a big reason why Nick Foles went on to win a Super Bowl in 2017, right? We completely shifted what we did to adhere to the things that he did well, and we went on a really good run at the most meaningful moment of our careers.
But is it becoming a limiting factor? Is what Jalen likes becoming a limiting factor for the offense? Because the rest of the NFL is changing. They're adapting. They're doing they just watched the entire offseason what they could do to stop us.
I think
it would be a problem if we were being stagnant and if Jalen were saying, "Hey, let's keep it the way I like it." You know, that I can imagine that would be problematic.
I think every quarterback is limiting in some fashion. I'm not going to. I don't know to what degree Jalen is more limiting than other quarterbacks in this regard, to be honest with you.
Right. It is the quarterback's job to limit these plays. Well, you've got a playbook that's this thick, and it is the quarterback's job to tell the coaches what he likes, what he feels confident with, what he does best, because that gives the team the best chance to win.
There's that. It's also you got to be willing to step outside your comfort zone and try new things as well. Like, I don't think it's as simple as like just do what the quarterback wants. I don't think it's that. But I think that within reason, you should be doing things that the quarterback feels comfortable at executing at a high level, and you should be finding ways to do new things but get that same sentiment of knowing that he is comfortable and familiar with X. But
what do you make?
I think it's rare to find. I don't know how many quarterbacks are in the league that are like pocket passer, dual threat guys, can do under center, shotgun. They can audible at the line of scrimmage. They can set the protection. Like having a guy that does all that is extremely rare. Yeah. And I think that Jalen does enough of it that he's been to 2 Super Bowls. He's won a Super Bowl, and he has a strong enough set of skills that you can utilize and have a very high functioning offense.
What do you make?
Like, we've been a top 10 offense mostly through his career with the Philadelphia Eagles. So.
Yeah, totally. Anyways, what do you make of the predictable assertion? You know,
I think that the offense is getting better. I know it doesn't feel like that, but I think that there's more guys running wide open the last couple weeks. I think that they are working on it. I think that it will continue to get better. I think the bigger thing that has been the shocking thing for me offensively this year is really the run game. And I think that a lot of people will criticize Jalen in the passing game, and I know that AJ's upset with it, but you know, the one thing that the Eagles have been able to hang their hat on throughout his career, and the thing that really presents a difficult thing to defend for defenses, is Jalen's ability to keep the ball in an offensive line and running back tandem that have dominated the line of scrimmage. And so far, we've seen plays of it, but it really hasn't been consistent. And that's the thing that I think a lot is holding back this offense.
I was looking at those numbers yesterday, Jason. The numbers for Saquon before contact.
Yeah, it's
last year it was 3.8 yards before contact for Saquon. This year it's between 1.7 and 1.9.
Yeah, and I do think it's getting better. I think the last couple weeks they've had some huge plays designed. I think that there's very nearly like a 20, 30-yard toss crack that obviously false start kind of stalled that out. Some holding penalties. Landon's been playing banged up.
It feels like toss cracks are kind of cheating, though, doesn't it? Just feels like a shortcut. The toss crack. It's just, I don't know.
This I've spoken like a true fullback. I love it.
Yeah, it really does.
But here, I think
it's easy. It's quick.
The run game comes down to controlling the edge, right? How do you control the guy that has contain? And toss crack messes with that guy, knifing and bombing a C gap and taking a tight end. off his feet, right? So
Well,
all
we
of a sudden
got to
you
do
want
whatever works best to get us rolling, to get us started, because nothing's getting us started right now.
You want to keep guys honest. You want to prevent defenses from being able to cheat plays. And I think, there's multiple ways to do that. And one of the things that does that are these shotgun runs with Jalen where he can read it out post-snap. You still have to disguise them to a certain extent and do motions and move the running back. And like nothing in the NFL comes like you can just line up and do this, right? You still have to be somewhat unpredictable. But there is a litany of ways to do that. Under center, shotgun, all of it. And I think that Jalen has enough that he's very good at that, and this offense has enough that it's very good at that these guys will get to a place where they are a very high-functioning offense eventually, especially once the health catches up. I do think Landon being banged up has been a big detriment to this offensive line.
Huge.
He's been one of the best people-moving, road-grading guards in the NFL over the last 5 years. And he was getting his way back before that Denver game before he got hurt. I was like, I saw him passing off games and he's mirroring. I'm like, all right, he feels good. I can see he feels good. And then he went down with the ankle injury. And, the tight end struggled a little bit early on. And I think that they are going to figure that portion out. And I think once that run game gets moving, and they need it this week, right? Like this defense is very good, especially against the pass. The one thing that they are weak in Minnesota is stopping the run.
Yeah, they're 24th.
Yeah, they've given up some yards on the ground.
Yeah, 24th at stopping the run.
Listen, if teams want to play zone coverage, they want to play these two high shells, we're going to have to be able to run the football to have a meaningful
This has got to be the week.
Yeah.
And they're giving up 4.5 yards a carry, which is 22nd.
So as the Eagles emerge from, we call it a mini bye. They call it a mini bye because they last played on Thursday, and the coaches had additional time to kind of figure some stuff out. We ask you, what is your solutions for what the Eagles should do different? I know it's easy to say just certain guys got to play better, and that's true. Jalen Carter, Jalen Hurts, A.J. Brown, the lesser players. I mean, I don't exactly count on it, but it'd be nice if, like, an Adoree Jackson or, one of the edge guys, like some of these guys got to play a little better. But they may not. But Sirianni can put him in some different positions. My basic thing, number one, is exactly what Jason just said. Design runs for Jalen. That's number one on my list. That's controllable. Yeah. That is controllable. I'm also going to try to sign Brandon Graham. I'm also going to cut Tank Bigsby because I can't stand a guy that can't catch a kickoff. Can't have it. And I'm going to put Nakobe Dean in there and move Campbell to the edge. I mean, that's and some of that isn't going to solve it all, but I'm beginning the process of trying to come up with solutions. What are your solutions? Let's get to Andy in Deptford. Andy, good morning.
Morning, team. We live. We hot. What's up? How's everybody doing?
Doing good, Andy. What's up, Bubba?
You're a beaut, Andy, but go ahead.
Joe, man, you've been spewing diarrhea in the mouth all week, so I'm here to be the voice of reason, okay?
let me tell you something. Even Darius Slay knows. No. Yeah. But go ahead, make your little point.
Here's the deal. You start this week by defending the Phillies, a team 4 years in a row when the pressure's the highest, they frauded, right? They tapped out. A team where you want to run it back with guys that are over 30.
Well, I haven't said that. I haven't said that. I haven't said that. What I have said is they might have been the second best team in baseball, and that has to be factored into the offseason strategy. But go ahead.
Who cares about the second best team in baseball? They lost, okay? The goal is to win a World Series, and they lost. So you bring a manager back who's proven that he can't get it done when you got to get it done most. And you want to run it back with players when they choke the most. But yet a team 2 of the last 3 years that been to a Super Bowl, all you want to do is criticize the quarterback, criticize the whole team. The coach don't know what he's doing, but yet you give the Phillies an easy pass when we want to win championships. And the Eagles, I'll give you a news flash. The Eagles are the best thing we got going in this town, and it's been that way for a decade.
Well, it has
been. It's going to continually keep going that way because this is the only team that brings championships to town.
Listen,
okay?
Andy, hang on. So, number one.
It's on his soapbox right
I know. I hope you're right that when this season's over, that the Eagles will have surged and proven to be the best this year. We'll see. Number two, you're absolutely right. For a decade, they've been certainly the best, by far the best. There's no question about that. But I'll stand by what I said yesterday. And you may disagree, and that's fine. And I hope I am proven wrong. As of right now, I believe the 2025 Phil's better than the 2025 Eagles. That's my opinion. Now, you may say that's crazy. Maybe it is, but I'll tell you what. I saw what I thought was a really good baseball team, and right now, I actually don't think the Eagles are a really good football team. I hope they pull it together.
No,
It's not about that,
It's
though.
not
It's
about
about
Let's
the
not do it all
energy.
again.
It's about the energy that you're giving to the Phillies
No,
and the energy
I
you're giving
can't-
to
You
the
I
are
can't
too
keep hearing this
excusing.
energy
You're
thing.
too excusing of their
I'm
failures.
not
Their
ex-
utter failures.
I'm not excusing
but you
them.
literally
I'm not excusing
crush
them.
Jalen Hurts on a daily basis.
You know why? Because
when
the
he's
Phillies team
delivered.
was better than the Jalen Hurts.
Jalen Hurts is the
Joe.
Super Bowl MVP.
Okay.
Like, come
Okay.
on.
All right. Go ahead, Andy.
You don't want to argue it again because you're
I
going to
can't
lose
do it.
again.
I can't do it. Andy,
Hey,
go
Joe,
ahead.
If you're okay with participation trophies and finishing when you're not with that trophy hoisting at the end, that's on you, my man. Because it seems like you got this soft mentality where you're okay with participation trophies and you're okay with a manager
I'm not.
that
I'm
can't
not.
get
I'm
it
not.
done.
But here's the problem, Andy. A caller earlier today said he expected the Eagles to win the championship this year. That's on him. The callers that called us 2 weeks ago that said they expected the Phillies to win the World Series, that's on them. That is over expectations. I told you all year. Hold on, Andy. I told you all year Phillies had about a 10% chance to win the World Series because it's freaking hard. I got an athlete here headed to the Hall of Fame in a couple years. You know how many titles he won? One. You know why?
Okay.
Because it's hard. It's really hard.
And the host that thinks the Phillies are the second best team in baseball and better than the Eagles right now, that's on you, my man, because that ain't true.
All right, Andy, give me an answer. Give me a fictional lie.
Besides the Phillies being the second best team in baseball, how about some good ones were already taken? How about Departed, Leo and Departed?
That might have been Andy's bet. Yeah, it's a good lie.
What is the lie? You got to help me out
His
here.
whole character.
His
He's
whole
just
character. Oh, the character,
undercover.
yeah.
That might have been Andy's best line ever. The fictional lie.
That's
The
fine.
Phillies are
So-
second
It
best
really
team.
was.
Jason, what do you make of that the last 2 minutes there? I mean, the difficulty winning a title, the expectations, the frustrations. There's a lot in there. How do you look? We're all frustrated on the Phils.
Yeah,
How do you size up that whole last 2 minutes?
So are we talking? I'm trying to think. First of all, comparing the Phillies to the Eagles and which team is better, like, it's hard to even rationalize in my brain.
Just so you know, what I was trying to say
Yeah,
yesterday, I was trying to explain to people my level of concern with the Eagles.
sure.
And I believe, when we get to January 1st,
Yeah.
and the Eagles season is almost over, although maybe it'll continue to February, maybe it won't. My point was, when all is said and done, I actually think people will say that the Phillies this year were better. I could be dead wrong. I'm just telling you that's where I'm at as I see the two teams.
What would you have thought mid-season or
Mid-Philly season?
early Philly season?
I would have said Eagles. I would have said Eagles above Phillies. Listen, here's what I did not expect with the Eagles, and I expected a step back.
Yeah.
Okay, I really did expect some depletion with the free agent losses and the likelihood of more injuries.
Mm-hmm.
What I did not expect was they can't run it much at all.
Yeah.
Saquon's averaging 3.4 yards per carry.
Yes.
They are struggling to stop the run, and they have been outgained in their first 6 games.
Yeah.
Oh, and by the way, there's a kick returner who can't catch the ball. I didn't expect those things.
Those are all, yeah. I mean, listen, they're all concerning. Do you think the run game will get better?
Yes, but I know it needs to get a lot better.
Do you think the defense, what happened
Yeah,
on Thursday?
how much better do you think the
I
run
think it's
going to
get a lot
get?
better. I think it's going to get a lot better.
Because it has to click. It has to get to that point where everyone's got that confidence in it, and it's just like roll it, call it, roll it, call it, roll it.
Yeah.
Why is it taking so long this year?
I think we've had injuries, and I
Just
think
the-
guys haven't executed well. I think
Yeah.
we're still figuring out
Bad personnel.
Yeah, I think the Eagles will continue to get better in that route. I really do, and I think they're going to be a very good running team by the time this thing gets rolling in very meaningful situations. I think defensively they had a really bad game this past Thursday. They also were missing 2 of their best players. I think that the biggest thing that is concerning to me this season was the same thing that I had concern going into it. When you're trying to repeat, it's often not the star guys that you should be worried about. It's the guys that were there that never got a lot of attention, but they ended up making enormous impacts when you needed them. Tyler Steen is now a starting guard, right? If we have this injury to Landon Dickerson last year, Tyler Steen is playing, and he's playing at a similar level that he's playing right now, and the offensive line is probably less of a drop back. I think you look at that, the same thing on defense. We lose Darius Slay, we lose CJ GJ. Now these guys that played meaningful snaps last year in a different role now have to be starters. Now there's guys beneath them. Defensive line-wise, we've lost Fletcher Cox, we've lost Milton Williams, we've lost Brandon Graham, we've lost Josh Sweat. Over the past 2 years, our defensive line has completely shifted. And now Moro Jomo is a great player, and Jordan Davis is playing better than he ever has. Jalen Carter's been in and out of the lineup, and these other guys are playing crucial snaps. So, like, I think that those guys need to continue to develop and grow if we want to be a competitive team at the end of this season. And I think that all of these other things that have caused us to be 4-2.
Right.
Let me remind you, with all of these concerning negative things, we are still a 4-2 football team. So I am not concerned over the long haul. I'm actually pretty optimistic. Am I slightly concerned? Yeah. I still want to see the run game start getting there, but nothing in my brain can allow me to compute that with Saquon Barkley, Jeff Stoutland, this offensive line, and this quarterback, that these guys will not figure that portion out.
Strong.
So, yeah, that's my overall sentiment with the Eagles. Now, whether they're better than the Phillies, I think the Phillies were a great baseball team this past year. It really sucks that entire investment that everybody made came down to such a fluke play. And I feel terrible for Kirkring, and I love Topper's reaction to it. It's like what can you do?
Right.
It's just so you work so hard, and for it all to come down to such a weird bounce, and then it sucks. And I think that team was really, really good, and it's unfortunate that they're not going to get more accolades and they didn't go further. But I think very highly of this Eagles team still. I still think, especially with where the NFL is right now, there is nobody that is coming out as the number one top dog.
Yep.
The Detroit Lions, who I thought were starting to click, go to Kansas City and get Kansas City completely bullies them.
Yeah.
I think it's a wide open NFL. There is a lot of season left. We have a lot of talent, and Nick Sirianni and these coaches, I know that Kevin Patullo is facing a lot of criticism, have largely figured it out over the course. I constantly hear things about 2023. We fired our defensive coordinator midseason in 2023. We were lost on that side of the ball. That is not going to happen right now, right? We have one of the best defensive minds over the past decade on that side of the ball. Is there concerns? Are guys playing up to their potential? Is the defense what it needs to be yet? No. But I don't think it is at all in the same place it was in 2023, which is the biggest reason that season collapsed. We can talk about the offense struggling towards the end of the year and the blitzes, and losing A.J. Brown did hurt. The defense being ranked 32nd is why we ended up collapsing the way we did. And I don't think that's going to happen over the course of this season. So I think largely, I know it feels like the sky's falling. And watching that game last Thursday, I certainly was not happy. Watching Cam Scadaboo.
I got you.
Cam Scadaboo and freaking Jackson Dart, two rookies, dismantle a defending Super Bowl team. I hated watching it, and I hated the energy, the youthful enthusiasm, and that guy going in the blue tent, and then people ripping
back to generating that.
Well, it's hard to go back to. Andy Reid used to call that youthful enthusiasm, and he used to really. It was like your job as a rookie to have that. Right? You're realizing your dream.
Yes.
You're playing in front of millions of people and doing exactly what you wanted to do your whole life. And you're seeing those two kids in New York, and some of it I'm like, man, these guys are a bunch of slappies. And it's annoying because it's on a rival team. But at the same time, it's you know what? Yeah, that's what football is. Yeah. I mean, as a fullback, you gotta love Scadaboo. There's a mentality there that is a fullback mentality,
I'm so
right?
torn because he really does. He brings it.
There's a lovable nature to that, that French bulldog that you throw the ball, it's going to go get that ball with the most reckless abandonment possible.
I thought he looked like John Reagan's.
Yeah,
honestly, he looked like not like a fullback from 30 years ago. He looked like a fullback running back from 50 years ago.
Yeah, I don't think
it was unbelievable.
I don't know how long it's going to last. It's hard to imagine he can play football like that for a long time. But man, I respect it. And listen, it's easier to do that when the expectation is nothing, and you're coming in and you're realizing your dreams, and you have that naturally. What makes great players and what is really hard in this league is sustained success in manifesting that energy, especially in spite of execution. That's Jeff Stalin, one of my favorite quotes, execution fuels emotion. You want to feel better, you want to have energy, go and execute. But at the same time, the great players and the ones that really make meaningful differences on football teams, they find a way to get those emotions and to make that their teammates and their coaches feel that and get a reaction when things aren't going well. So we'll see who those guys are. I know the Eagles are loaded with them. I love Jordan Mailata and some of the things he said this week.
Totally.
So, yeah.
Fired up, Jason Kelce. I love it. It's 94 WIP HD1 Philadelphia as we broadcast today from the Tasty Cake studio. Jason with us every Thursday morning for about an hour. We're going to get to some audio Baldy said yesterday about Jalen Carter. Pretty notable. Oh. Holy mackerel. Wait to hear that. Let's get to Kevin in Mount Airy right now. Good morning, Kevin.
Good morning. How you doing?
Hi, Kevin.
I wanted to say, in the words of Aaron Rodgers, everybody need the RELAX.
Well, those are letters. Those are letters, not words. But okay.
Well,
I got you, buddy. I'm joking around.
The thing about it is, we got a lot of football left. I think we're going to finish around 12-5, maybe. If we get lucky, 13-4. But the regular season is the tune-up for the postseason.
Got to make it, though. Got to make it.
Well, I think
Kevin, I'm just telling you, probably. Well, I'll say this. I'll say probably, but the other day was the first time watching that game Thursday night. I thought they legitimately may not make the playoffs. And, Kevin, part of it is going to be just the Quignons of the world and the Landon Dickersons of the world, how long it takes to come back, which we just don't know. But I know this, like, if those guys get back pretty soon, then that helps dramatically. If they don't, you start playing with some fire, man. You know, I mean, we know that the edge rushers, the corners, and the offensive line have struggled. I mean, that's just a fact. So they need their dudes to be their dudes. They got to, you know, and I'm not criticizing any of those. I'm not criticizing Quignon and Landon. They're laying it all out there. But if they're hurt, they're hurt.
Well, we need to get back to running the RPO more. And, I mean, since the defenses are adjusting to what the offense is doing, I don't see why we're not running any screens, why we're not running any quick slants more often to back the defense off. We need to do something to open up the passing game, and that's going to be the running game.
All right, Kev, good call here, buddy. Give me a notable fictional lie.
Let's go Gladiator.
Oh, sure.
And what's the lie?
The lie that the king said he wanted Maximus to be in charge to make it the Republic again.
I was thinking a different.
I know. Yeah. So what's this? He's saying which lie?
He's saying that. Well, the king. It wasn't a lie. Like the king told Maximus he wanted to be in charge, and then he died, and then.
Well, that's not a lie.
I don't think so either. I thought he was going to talk about Maximus lying and saying he wasn't Maximus for a while of the movie, essentially.
Yeah.
Yes, I agree with you. I think that would have been a better answer. All right. Speaking of answers, we got a really notable answer from. And Marcus Aurelius wasn't a king, right? What was he, an emperor, John?
Yeah.
The true, emperor of Rome.
The true emperor of Rome. But we'll give you some leeway on that one. All right. So, Baldy, boy, he's not giving Jalen Carter much leeway from what he has seen, both with his own eyes watching games, and obviously, as Baldy does, he breaks down the tape. And, look, I thought Jalen Carter was not only the Eagles' best defensive player last year, and that's saying something because they had some other really great ones, but I thought he was one of the 2 or 3 best in football. Like maybe right there with the dude in Cleveland for maybe being the 2 best defensive players in football. Big drop-off this year. Everyone knows it. Well, listen to what Baldy said yesterday about the level of drop-off. Holy mackerel. Here's Brian Baldinger yesterday.
Well, don't sugarcoat it here. Like, don't sugarcoat it. I mean, he's been awful. I mean, I haven't seen anything.
Straight from the hip. Shoot it from the hip, Dan. Shoot it.
I mean, I'm just telling you, like he hasn't made one play. He hasn't shown any violence out there. He doesn't look like he's in great shape. He's a guy that had played last year. In a couple of games, he played every snap.
Every snap, yeah.
Every snap. Like, you don't see defensive tackles. I mean, you see Max Crosby doing the edge. You don't see tackles do that.
Yeah.
And he played every snap in some games last year. Whether he had to or not, he did.
Yep.
You don't see the conditioning. You don't see the violence. You don't see him splitting double teams. Like, he hadn't done anything, in my mind, to, I mean, he was an ascending player. We thought he would be a dominant player. He doesn't look anything like that.
I mean, I got to, and of course, that was with Spike Ike and Jack. And let me tell you, John, we can talk all about the Adoree Jacksons and the Keely Ringos.
Harsh,
but if your main guys aren't delivering, it's hard. And that's damning from Baldy right there.
It's damning, but it's so true. And this defense is built on the notion that he's going to be taking up blockers. Like his greatness is part of what everyone else counts on. It helps everyone else so much. And now, just like we got accustomed to our offensive line chewing people up and spitting them out, it was sort of the same thing on the defensive side of things. Like he would always win. Or very consistently win. Even if you put 2 guys on him, he's still getting push. He's still getting penetration, creating havoc. Why the change? Why the dramatic change, Jason?
I think he's getting probably more attention than he's ever got. I mean, after the year last year, you're going to have teams that not only are they sliding your way, but they're doing schematic things and game planning things around you. And then I think, there's probably also a level of, he's just not getting it done, right? I think it's a combination most likely. Sometimes it gets discouraging when that slide is always coming to you and you let it take you out of your own game. The traits are still there.
Yeah, he's in his own head. Like he's not only physically not getting it done, but like mentally, emotionally, he is out of it.
I don't know.
He's in a bad place.
I don't know that it's fair that he's like done nothing and that there's been no violence. I think you've seen flashes and like plays where he's clubbed guys across their head, but like I think he is probably discouraged with some of the things that have gone on.
Is he giving up because he's always getting double teamed? Is that part of the problem?
I don't think that's fair to say that is the thing. But I think that you heard the coach a few weeks back reference being in shape. And I think that, he's missed the first game, obviously, with the incident with Dak. And, you go through the offseason the way it works now. You don't really play football.
That's a great point.
The way you have to stay in shape is to actually, work out and
do work.
Yeah, I always felt like it took me the first 4 weeks of the season to really feel like I was in football shape.
And
again.
it felt like it took the offensive line the first 4 weeks to get to where they're functioning at a high level as a group.
Yes. So, I think, he's got to step up. I think he will step up. I think he's a great player. And I think, it's how you respond to this. Like all great players and pass rushers and defensive linemen go through spurts of this. There was noise of this with TJ Watt a few months ago. There was noise, with Fletcher Cox at times. How do you respond and how do you react when you're going through downturns like this? And, that's where you find out about whether this kid is going to be a perennial Pro Bowl, All-Pro, Hall of Fame player that he can be. He has all the traits. And, I think we're going to see how he responds, yeah.
Jason in studio with us here. We're looking for solutions today from everyone that calls in because, we're pretty clear with what the problems are. I mean, at a basic level, they're not running it well. They're not passing it well. They're not stopping the run well. And while the pass defense wasn't bad early, it's gotten worse, obviously, as some injuries have set in. So we ask you, what would you do? Rhea brought up the idea on special teams, bringing Britton Covey back. I don't disagree.
Why is he here?
He's here, but he's not here.
If he's on the roster, it can't possibly. You couldn't be worse at this point. They're getting. It's the one thing we don't talk about. Why the problems on this offense? Their starting field position is dreadful.
It's horrible.
Dreadful.
So there are things they can do, and so it's time to start doing some of them. 215-592-9494. By the way, if you don't know, Phillies press conference, pretty big one, coming up in 3 hours, and we're going to air it here on WIP. As Dave Dombrowski and Rob Thompson will both take to the microphone at 11 a.m. So in the early portion of Joe and Hugh's show, 11 o'clock today, we will be all ears for what they say. We've already discussed amongst ourselves. We don't really think there's much that they can say, if anything, that'll make us feel better. Now, John alluded to, well, maybe they come out and say, we know the problem and we're going to deal with it. The only problem with that is if you know the problem today and you say that today, then we're all going to say, well, why didn't you deal with it 3 weeks ago? So, I don't think there's really much they can say to make us feel better, but it will be notable to hear how they answer questions, particularly because I would actually put both of them, Dombrowski and Rob Thompson, in the more forthcoming category than less Like, James, you hear Sirianni these days, he don't say anything.
Nothing. It's unbelievable. Honestly, he's like a master at it.
Yeah.
He just talks around things. Both Topper and Dombrowski are sometimes too honest, it feels like.
Because, there'll be answers on the JT and Schwarber fronts, I think, that will give you an idea into their mindset of the likelihood of being able to retain them. Not to mention Bader, not to mention Ranger. Like, if Dombrowski says today, man, we want to have Ranger Suarez back, but we got to have a spot in the rotation for him, then that's code for he probably ain't coming back. You know, and so just
he probably ain't coming back.
He probably ain't coming back. You know, Ranger's the best player, and the only one I've ever seen in Philly sports sort of like it is Foles. I mean, Jason, a Foles situation after 2018, where it's like clearly this guy can be a starter, but there's no room in the inn. There's Carson Wentz and there's Nick Foles, and there's only one starter. This Ranger Suarez thing, I mean, he might be one of the 10 best pitchers in the National League, and on this pitching staff, there may not be a spot
He's
for him
the one
next year.
I want back the most.
I love him. He's my favorite Phil.
Yeah.
But, like, I mean, am I prepared to trade Andrew Painter or Luzardo? Like,
are we prepared to say, I mean, is anybody worried about Andrew Painter?
A little bit.
I mean, I am.
It was a down year given the expectations.
I know he's still coming back from the surgery, but...
Jason, how's your heart on the Phillies thing? I mean, given that it ended, I mean...
Well, yeah, it sucked. I mean, that was a terrible Thursday a week ago. I think... in terms of range, he's going to get paid like a full-time starting pitcher, right? Like I think that's why it's going to be hard to figure out where he fits in within the Phillies. But it's one of those like what is it? Not by attrition, but unfortunate circumstances of having
too many,
a lot of great players, and it's not unsimilar to why it's hard to repeat in football. You start losing a lot of these guys, like we just talked about. I think. It's really unfortunate. Obviously, it's a team that doesn't feel like it's really gone its way. Like they've struck the worst luck at the worst time the last 2 years. And it's like, man, I really, you're watching those extra innings, man, if they can just come back to Philly, I feel like they can get this done. And then if they win this one, it feels like that's like a huge monkey off the back, and we're rolling.
Let me ask you this, Jason. As someone who's played, obviously different sport.
Yeah.
When you hear people that are really, 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 really angry at them, of which there are many people, I'm not as angry at them as many. I'm extraordinarily disappointed. I'm not as angry, for instance, as someone like Rhea.
Rhea's angry at them.
There's a surprise, Jason.
There's anger.
Yeah. So, as a player, do you think that anger is on point or misplaced at times?
Well, I would say, first of all, I don't really get angry unless somebody is not giving great effort, trying and representing what I think to be the representation of our city and our team, right? And I personally don't feel that way with the Phillies, right? I feel like it's a team that largely, works really hard. They spend a lot of money. They are invested in competing, and they are trying the best they can. I firmly believe that. Am I frustrated that it hasn't panned out and that guys haven't performed in meaningful situations, in that, they don't have any hardware to share? Of course. Yeah, I'm frustrated as a fan, but I do think that largely, like, the team is invested. They're doing right by the fans. They're trying. It just isn't panning out. Now, that frustration magnifies in a season like this where it's like, how many times can we run it back? Yeah. And what is the answer? Like, the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over and expecting different results. So, like, what do we need? What is the big thing? And, listen, if Bader's healthy, I don't know. Like, I feel like the series could have gone completely, differently for some reason. Like,
might have.
Just, one guy like that. Like, I really feel like sometimes, especially a guy that brings that much juice, can really make a huge difference.
I agree with your assessment.
But,
I really do.
Yeah, I don't know. That's my overall feelings without, I still like Rob Thompson as a manager. I really do. I understand if they want to move on, and I understand that some fans want to move on. But I also don't know that that's necessarily going to fix everything.
Yeah,
it could. Listen to this. I think Rob Thompson is one of the best managers in Major League Baseball right now. Moving on from him, you could, on a probably smaller percentage chance, potentially improve. Mm-hmm. But there's also probably a much larger chance that something goes wrong and you get worse.
Yeah, I get it. Hey, coming up, A.J. Brown, something he said yesterday, sort of setting the tone for the week. I thought it was some good stuff from A.J. We'll get to that. More with Jason. Reminder, that Phillies press conference, 11 a.m. today, so listen during Joe and Hugh's show. A lot on tap for the rest of our program as well, including something Jaws said to us this week. We'll get to that also on 94 WIP. All right, it's a Thursday, and it's the fall, which means we got Thursday Night Football, which means you can win with FanDuel Sportsbook tonight with Thursday Night Football in the NFL. With FanDuel Sportsbook in partnership with Valley Forge Casino, because on Thursdays in the fall, FanDuel's got that Thursday touchdown jackpot. And what it means is you can not only win your bet, but you can win a share of $2 million in bonus bets, which is an awesome opportunity. All you got to do is pick the player, find the player, choose the player. with FanDuel before the game that you think is going to score either the first or the last touchdown of the game. And if that player does so, you're not only going to win your bet, but you're going to win a share of $2 million. So identify the player tonight, obviously for Thursday Night Football, and lock it in at FanDuel.com/hammer. You can always apply bets to, Saturday in college football and Sunday in pro football, Philly and Minnesota, obviously Sunday up there. So all these different games, all these different bet opportunities available for you at FanDuel.com/hammer.
21 plus and present in Pennsylvania. Opt-in must apply profit boost token on select market. Price pool to be split equally among all eligible participants who made the correct first or last TD pick. Bonus issued is non-withdrawable bonus bets which expire 21 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
The timeless